talk about Syria, and we're gonna talk about what's happening right now in Syria. So, USA to stick with Kurdish allies in Syria. This is the Kurdish flag. So Washington, the fall of Assad regime will not impact USA support. So this means that this try to say this is trying to say that the Kurds, the Turks, sorry, the President Erdogan, he got the green light to invade. Not the Turks, but we know that the Turkish army is active. So we have here with Syria influx, Turkish forces attack US backed forces. So now the smoke is going up, and we can start seeing what happened in Syria. So we know that for the so-called Syrian rebels to start an attack, such attack, they cannot do it. They need to have a green light, and they got a green light, most probably from President Trump, because if they struck a deal with President Biden, it will not hold, because President Trump will be president next month, 20. So so yeah, now we have Syria out of the picture as a threat for Israel. So we think about Syria as a threat for Israel. We remember that President Trump, he has threatened Gaza with hell. You remember that? That speech came one day before the invasion of Syria by the rebels. So of course we can understand that a promise was given to President Erdogan by American President Trump, green light to enter Syria via proxies, the so-called HTS. So we read here, with Syria influx, Turkish forces attack US-based forces. So of course this attack, yeah, so this is not attacking USA, it's attacking the Kurds. So the Turks are attacking the Kurds. And let's read here, rebels supported by Turkish air power fired on a Kurdish-controlled city in northern Syria, pitting proxies of the USA and Turkey, NATO allies, against each other. So now, if let's say if President Vladimir Putin, he did that on purpose to make the NATO-Turkey clash with the Kurds, who are supported by the USA. So by doing that, President Putin, he created this like vacuum. You know, you have like a checkmate, and the king cannot move. So let's go. Let's see here what about checkmate meaning. So let's see here checkmate. Checkmate. A position which a player's king is directly attacked by an opponent piece or pawn and has no possible move to escape the check. The attacking player thus wins the game. So this is what happened actually, and in Syria, because we know that President Assad, he couldn't travel, and his situation was very, very hard for this country because of the sanctions. So if we say that they were playing chess in Syria, and then President Assad, he was checkmate. He couldn't move. He was under siege, and the attacking player thus win the game. So the king, he cannot be rescued. He is killed. The king here is President Bashar Assad. But instead, the Russians, they helped President Assad to escape. So the whole attack by the um, rebels is without any does not have any value, because the whole plan was to take out Assad, and now Assad, we don't know, we know that he's in Russia, and he can come back anytime. So the whole this rebel takeover revolution talk is uh, is not related to reality. It is not any connection to reality. So maybe you will hear later on that President Assad is still the actual president of Syria. So the whole uh, plan of taking out Assad has failed. They have tried 13 years, and we know that this Assad is a big friend of Russia, and they have this situation shocking. So these guys, we talked about the rebels, and we talked about they have this prophecy with ISIS about meeting a room, who are the Russians in Syria, in Dabek, in a city in northern Syria. They're gonna meet the infidels there, and they're gonna defeat the Russians. So this dream, like it is in this like how they translate the holy books, the prophecies of the end time of the Armageddon. So by explaining that to their people, that it is Russia, the enemy, Russia, the big devil, the Satan, so when you have this kind of teaching, you don't think that okay, now he's gonna like go fight another people, like we go fight the the Jews. No, we don't fight the Jews, we fight the Russians. Why? Because it is written in the end time the Muslims will meet the Russians, room, talked about this in previous videos, in Syria, and they're gonna defeat the Russians, and they're gonna follow to the Moscow, to the capital city of Russia. And we read this one, and I showed the links. And now this opportunity is not it's not available anymore. They cannot defeat Russia in Russia. They need to defeat Russia in Syria, according to the prophecy. Understand? So now like this moment will not happen when Russia is not in Syria anymore. So that goes for the Muslim radical Islam, that taking out the dream about the Armageddon, about how they're gonna win Judgment Day will occur. The second day they have war with the infidels, the Arum, the Russians. The same problem for the same problem for the Israelis. The Israelis, the whole idea of creating a nation that's called Israel is to meet the Russians in Gog and Magog battle. And this dream for the Jews is has been taken out. So the Jews and the Muslims, very, very sad. I mean, those radical Islam and those extremist Jews who believe in these end time prophecies, they are very sad. They are crushed. They don't have this dream. They cannot decide the timeline. We cannot have a nuclear Armageddon in the Middle East now. The Russians are out. So this is a great blow for radical Islam, for Israel, extremist Israelis who believe in Gog and Magog. even for the evangelist, or just call these Christian Zionists. So I don't know, evangelistis. I don't know what's the name. These guys also very, very sad. So these guys very sad, and then the Turks will go and attack Kurds slowly, and they notice no reaction from America, so they continue and they will try to, yeah, of course they're gonna try to take out the Kurds, and the Americans need to take a position, decide to be with the Kurds or with the Turks. So this is will be a very hard decision for America, because you know that NATO cannot do without Turkey. So Turkey is a major player, and the Kurds, they have the oil, and President Trump, he said it's about the oil, and they're gonna not gonna give up the oil easy for the Turks, because they need to have both the Turks and the Kurds as allies, as friends for NATO, for USA, and stuff like that. So now you see the situation whole different. I know people, they don't will not accept that. I was reading on that thread on this conspiracy site. So I don't know, but I feel like people are just don't understand what has happened, and they don't see what how say, oh, Russian, they gave up on Syria, they gave up on their naval base. They don't understand the whole situation, and they don't understand how President Vladimir Putin he played the other ones. He played NATO, he played the USA, he played even Israel. So this is very, very hard to people, journalists, to analysts to accept and say. So of course it was these rebels. They were trained. They were prepared to meet the Russians, and then the Russians were not there. They were not prepared to lead a country in Syria. Not they are not a country like a leading organization. They don't have any experience. They don't have any knowledge about how they control a country. We remember that when the Muslim Brotherhood uh, took over in Egypt, uh, Morsi, his name was, they did not attack Israel. This is we're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, talking about Turkey. And the same situation happening now, because these rebels, they are being attacked by Israel, and the whole Syrian army is destroyed, and they did not even comment. So you see here, we read the Israeli news. So it's not very easy for you people to understand what's going on, but I feel this is a great blow for Turks and the Kurds and Americans and all people who are left in Syria. They will have a lot of terrible time, starting from Israel and Turkey and all these, even USA. So of course, I believe USA will eventually leave Syria and Iraq because of this very, very bad decision that President Trump has made by allowing the Turks to invade Syria. This was very, very unexpected, and the Americans, especially, I'm speculating here, nothing is real, we don't know really, I'm just speculating, trying to give answers to what happened in Syria. So, of course, the rebels, the Syrian rebels who were protected by Turkey, and they were planning to meet the Russians, and they were planning to defeat the Russians, and to kill, of course, Bashar al-Assad, president of Syria. All these goals vanished. They not to have any interest of leading the country. They don't have any interest how to make the Syrian people live in peace. All they have is this revenge. They want to go and revenge. You know, they are like they are loaded, and they have this urge, just like this some kind of disappointment when they were heading in Syria. They were marching in Syria to meet somebody to fight, and nobody was there. And of course, they want to have a lot of killed Syrian troops and Russian troops, and this is all their plan, because the second day God will come and they will take them to heaven, of course, because they were fighting the infidel. This is from the Islamic prophecies. I'm telling you, and it's only me. I was talking about that. We're gonna watch together. So we're gonna read here in the news, and the same goes for the Israelis. For the Israelis, also they planned a confrontation between the Turks and the Russians and the Syrians, and this would have destroyed Syria, and would have left a lot of killed people. And of course, Israel had the chance, though. They have the chance, though, if such battle have occurred, they would have waited, and they have would like comforted the Russians, and try to, like the Russians are Gog and Magog, and yeah, like of course Israel would be attacked if the Russians and the Syrians have resisted this attack by the rebels. If they have resisted the attack, the Israelis also would have been hit, because a lot of Syrians, they support like the Syrians who supported Russia. Also, they have also Iranians supported Russia. All these guys, they against Israel. And if of course Turks coming from the north, of course the Israelis will. Many Syrians maybe would think that Israelis have something to do with this like it is against, like, NATO. You see, Turkey, NATO, and America and Israel, like one side, and the other side, like Russia, Iran, and Syria. Understand? So the Iranian, the Russians, and the uh, Syrians, Syrian army, like by this president escaping this battle that was promised for the Muslims and the Jews. They have waited. That's why they created Israel, to have this Gog and Magog war. So all these plans is blown out. They don't exist anymore. So these guys, they don't know what to do now, because they all about the killing and the war and the blood, because they pay God in such way by killing and stuff, and then they do this worship, and believe they are killing the infidels. Also, the Jews believe they are killing the Gentiles, the Amalekites, the Canaanites, and so I talked about this before, that the Israelis have this plan to have this war with Russia, because in their religion they believe that Russia will be defeated by God, Jehovah, Yahweh, because God will shake the earth, and it will be a great earthquake. So here we have this Damascus and end time prophecies, and we have also this Israel dilemma in Syria poker face. I made that video before the fall of Assad, and of course, these guys, the only way for them to proceed is to have a battle with Russia, because otherwise they are not in the same timeline that they have imagined. Understand? So by Russia withdrawing troops and retreating from Syria, they have taken out the dream that Israelis they had for a long time of such a confrontation that leads to Armageddon and end time. So these guys are left with no end time dreams, and even the Muslim rebels. So instead, they went in the rebels. They have this urge to kill and take revenge, because the revenge is very important for these guys. They don't have revenge, they don't feel the motive to fight. So they hate the Russians because it's written. It's not nothing about they have have they had war between Russian and the Israelis. Not that I know about. So this is about what is written, and they need to follow the scripts. They need to follow the holy books, and it's written that it's only then Mashiach will come, when they have the fight with the Russians. Also for the Muslims, they cannot have their Mahdi before the fight with the Russians. So they need to fight the Russians. They get the Prophet or the Jesus, Moshiach. Talked about this one before. So I mean, this is very very smart, but of course not many people will see. So they're gonna say, "Oh, they're still going. Oh, why they took out the troops? They took out the leader, the president Assad, and they didn't fight." And of course, I explained why, and I'm gonna show you here. So I mean, so this is ISIS actually, HTS as ISIS. They change the name all the time. They was called ISIS, Al Qaeda, then they called ISIS, then called Al Nusra, then now they are called HTS. And also Abu Muhammad Al Jawlani, the leader, also changed his name. His name is Muhammad um, Ashar. Ashar. So yeah, I have a picture for you only here. One picture from today. This is Spain, I think. And we have this is the one here. You see that's UFO. So yeah, this is one theory I was talking about. Uh, was talking about this stuff before, and here even we see picture of this Julani Al Shara, Muhammad Al Shara. His name now is called Abu Muhammad Al Julani, and he borrowed the President Zelensky clothes. You see this, they have the same, this is not in one place. This is separate pictures. I put them together, or somebody else did that. You see, they look like, uh, not very much, but a little bit. If you just look at the mustache and the beard, the way they do it, and he has borrowed this one, so we know that it is exactly the same the same hopefully he watched this one before giving this one to this guy. So this guy is gonna, why he give him the clothes, because this guy he failed with Russia, so this guy will succeed with Russia, understand? But this guy didn't succeed with Russia because Russia gave him not didn't give him the chance to have a confrontation. So he's left out without all these prophecies. They said, "Oh, now we're gonna get the Isa. Now we're gonna, who is Jesus Christ? We're gonna return. Now we're gonna get Al Muhdi. The only thing we have to do is defeat the Russians to fight with the Russians." Also, this guy may be saying because we know that Zelensky is must believe also in these prophecies. So this is because Syria is so important because the angels, we know that from Syria, the Christianity spread to the world and greater Syria, of course. The angel said to, "Behold, a virgin shall be with child and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call him name Emmanuel," which being interpreted God with us. His birth was a miracle, and he made miracles according to the gospel Matthew 4:24. News about him spread all over Syria, and people brought to him all who were ill with various diseases, those suffering pain, possessed, those having seizures, and the paralyzed, and he healed them. Matthew 9:35. We also read that the Lord Jesus and the crowd went up to the Mount Hermon in Syria and took it as his platform and gave his greatest sermon in word called the Sermon of the Mount. According to Matthew 5:7, Sermon on the Mount, and still is considered the principle of the kingdom of Christ to his followers. The sermon has changed the system, concept, moral stance, and constitution of the entire world. Basic teaching pine of the pine Christ is realistic by grace of God based on love. It's considered by all leaders of the world in history. Uh, Basic teachings of the pine Christ is the grace of God based on love. It is considered by all leaders of the world in history, such as Gandhi, Napoleon, and many others. So then we see the Lord Jesus takes with him three disciples. They were Peter, James, and John to Mount Hermon. Mount Hermon is in Syria. We know that. In the great event of the Transfiguration, as we read in Luke 9:33, God the Father appeared in the clouds and spoke to his Son Jesus Christ in glorious splendor. He said, "This is my Son whom I have chosen. Listen to him." There appeared also the two prophets Moses and Elijah. The glory of God was like the sun, which made the disciples to fall on their faces and worship. Why don't we kneel down to him and do the same? So this is about Syria, the importance of Syria in for Christianity. We read that Israelis are now taking advantage of the fall of the Syrian regime and advancing near Damascus. So we're gonna read about this one. We know that Israel will lose a lot of motivation now. Russians are out from Syria. They don't have this dream of end times coming soon, because the Russians they cannot get the Moshiach if they don't defeat the Russians. They need to have the battle with the Russians in the beginning before the Moshiach comes. So unless they don't have the Moshiach, they cannot unless they don't battle with the Russians, they cannot have the Moshiach. So post visit Syria in the first Israeli media visit since 1974. So they are making a buffer zone, only buffer zone. They are reached almost Damascus, and they are advancing. But of course, they have lost the momentum. They have lost this end time prophecies because there's no Russians there. Who's who are they gonna to fight? You cannot fight these guys when they don't have the prophecy supporting this kind of attacks on civilians in Palestine and in Syria and in Lebanon. So time is running out for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He lost this a religious reason for waging war in the Holy Land. So time is very, very bad for Benjamin Netanyahu. He is going through the worst time since the start of the events in the Gaza. Just because what President Putin did, he fooled all the leaders by this very, very smart move. I don't like President Putin myself. I don't support Russia. I believe all nations will mourn when the Son of Man will return. That is Jesus Christ. So all nations are in that mess. But President Putin, he took a choice and he didn't follow all these leaders in a fight that will kill a lot and destroy Syria. So instead for having a war now, a three-world war between Israel, Syria, Russia, USA, and NATO, now we're gonna have peace, and this is because of this move. So this is very, very smart. And of course, we see that the Israelis they are trying not to show disappointment with this move because it will affect their motivation to waging wars, and they lost a lot of this dream of defeating Russians in Syria by using also the all nations will come and help Israel against the Russians. So all these scenarios are now taken out, and of course the Turks and the Kurds will be fighting like they do and they have done forever, and affect America, and maybe most probably America will leave Israel, Syria and Iraq because of this division, because America need to deal with this Kurdish Turkish conflict now. So either they choose Turks or they choose Kurds. They cannot choose both. It will not work out. It have been working, but it will not work out. Now Turks are inside Syria, and they have Damascus, and we have the other side of Syria. The eastern side of Syria is controlled by the Kurds, and the Kurds are in Turkey. Millions of Kurds are in Turkey. So just because they are trying to take out the Kurds in Syria, maybe the Turks will have a lot of problems with the Kurds in Turkey. So this is a division coming, and USA is a very, very terrible situation. You need to pick a side, either the Turks or the Kurds. Because if they say, oh no, we're gonna support the Kurds because they have been living in their country, they are native, but then you cannot play out Turkey, you cannot play out Erdogan from NATO. You cannot do that. If you have promised, you have given the green light for the Turks to go inside, meaning you don't give the Kurds the feeling that they are secure. And then the Kurds will turn against you. The Kurds will ally themselves with the Israelis, with anyone, with the Europeans, just to stop these Turkish attacks. So they're gonna do whatever, and this will put America in a very, very bad situation, because when the Turks start talking about they want help from Israel, that means they don't trust USA anymore. So USA has lost a big ally in the Syria, a big friend to USA. The Kurds will never trust America again. This is all very bad for America, and this is all because nobody expected that President Putin will, and together with President Assad, they decided in the last second not to fight against these guys. And these guys, they went in, they thought, oh, now we're going to find the Russians. They didn't find the Russians. They didn't find. Now they have the whole country for themselves. But they didn't plan of having a country. They thought we're gonna fight the Russians and the Syrians and we're gonna kill them, but they didn't have any more like future planning, because when they fight the Russians, God will come the next day, and it will be Judgment Day. But they don't have the fight with the Russians. There's been no Judgment Day. There's been no Al-Mahdi. There's been no Isa for the Muslims. And the same for the Jews. Will be not no Moshiach. So this is very bad for Israel, Turkey, rebels, and USA. Of course, that's very terrible for NATO. So I don't need to give you evidence. Just wait and see. The war in Syria now will erupt. The Kurds will be protesting everywhere. People, the Turks will allow all these refugees coming from Syria. He will allow them to come to Europe. So the whole situation is very, very bad. It's messed up. But the bigger losers here are Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who did not understand how Russians and Syrians will deal with this battle. They didn't expect it. They thought the battle will be, and everybody, even Russians, even the Syrians, everybody in the region, they were like acting as if they are going to this battle. And we knew Israel. They said after Gaza, they were going to go to Lebanon. And the Israelis said after Lebanon, we're going to go to Syria. So they said, oh, let's go. Let's prepare for this battle with the Turks and with the Syrians. Because they were all planning this battle for a long time, And then nothing happens. You see, now they are very disappointed. They don't know what to do. And the situation is going to turn around. And because they are in Syria, they are stuck. The Israelis are now in Syria. I promise you, they will be attacked. They will be attacked in Palestine, in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria. They will be attacked. The Americans will be attacked eventually by the rebels, by ISIS. The Israelis will be attacked. The Russians will be attacked. The Turks will be attacked by the Kurds. The Kurds will attack also. So you have a messed up situation in the Syria, and the world is sleeping. So they tried to give this curse to Syria, and now Syria will give this curse back. So please, you must deal with the Kurds and the Turks. They need to know where you have both of them, the relation to America, who is supposed to have this security now in USA when Russians are out. America need to have this control, and they need to give guarantees to the Kurds, because the Kurds are very, very afraid now. The Kurds, they do not trust America anymore. So they need to give guarantees to the Kurds. Otherwise, if you do like this with your own allies, nobody will trust you. So this is very, very like important. I don't interfere in countries' policies and stuff like that. But this is because of the love for President Trump to Israel. He wants to save Israel, and he feels all the time that Israel will be attacked by Syria. So this gives the green light to Erdogan, President Erdogan, to take out Syria, but he did not want to that Erdogan, he does not want to take out to enter to Syria without the green light. And now he get the green light. So now he has a green light. He's taking Damascus. He will pray in Damascus Mosque, the biggest mosque in Syria. And of course, now they're gonna divide the cake, the Syrian cake. But to divide the Syrian cake, they will never agree. Not the Kurds, not the Turks, not the Israelis. Everybody wants Syria for their own. And the Americans are there where the oil are. What kind of situation you think this is? And they go the all journalists and the media. Oh, Syria, Syria, Russia. Why did it like that? Oh, why did it escape? Oh, people, they checkmate you. The Russian checkmate Americans, all and NATO and Turkey and Israel. The Russian and the Syrian did that. If you still don't see that, I don't know why you are not living on this planet. You are living on another planet. So stop this kind of like, oh, what happened? Oh, Syria and stuff. This is all planned. This battle was planned, and the battle was cancelled. So yeah, so this is what I'm trying to say here. This is some kind of theory. So the other theory is about eventually tsunami will hit the Syria, and the Russians know about it, but not the Americans, because otherwise they would have evacuated all their bases, like the Russians. So a possible earthquake will hit Israel, maybe hard, most probably by the Russians, will nuke, not nuke, but will try to deliver an earthquake to Israel, the Russians. This is what I think. And they're gonna do it very near in the future, like a near future. Maybe they will do it before President Trump. So an earthquake will devastate. They will blow. They will do it in the sea, and this will cause a tsunami. So you're gonna take all the Syrian coastline, and even the Israeli coastline, and even Lebanon. So people are living on the coast, Lebanon, Israel, and Syria. Be very prepared in case you need to go to the mountains, in case tsunami will happen. So be very afraid. So we have this second theory, and we have a third theory. And the third theory is in line with the Islamic prophecies of this kind of leader that emerged in the end times, called Al-Sufyani. And Al-Sufyani will have a lot of power because he's like Antichrist, and then he will be killed by the Al-Mahdi and Jesus Christ. So this talking about the leader Al-Julani in Syria. And this guy supposed to be Antichrist for the Muslims. And of course, the Antichrist for the Muslim may be the Jewish Moshiach. So maybe he's a very important VIP for Israel. Maybe he is the Moshiach, the Christ of Israel that is coming. And that's why they're not gonna fight him. Maybe we're gonna see him in Jerusalem praying in the temple. So this is a third theory. So now we have the first theory. Russia and the Syrian president, they decided in the last second to not to participate in the battle that is coming and giving up Syria just because the other guys, they thought the battle is is the only way for them to proceed, to kill the Russians, take out the Russians by to humiliate the Russians, to humiliate the Syrians, and to like kill Assad. This very symbolic victory for these guys. 13 years, and you cannot get the Turks. Many countries they wanted this guy dead, and this guy is still alive in Moscow. So this is not very good for their dreams and their ambitions. But of course, this is just a theory. The second theory is some kind of harp or some kind of weapon will be released on Israel. So they are evacuating the bases. They are evacuating. They know that the whole Mediterranean eastern side of Mediterranean will struck by tsunami, devastating. So now they are leaving. The third theory is this Antichrist or Mashiach, that is Al-Julani or Muhammad Shara, who is Al-Sufyani in Islamic apocalyptic prophecies. So I have provided you with three theories. Time will tell which theory is the most reasonable, and of course, all what is going on is because of the morning star. And I have good news for you. I'm gonna get more footage eventually, because we have a webcam that's showing the morning star, New Jerusalem, Nibiru. So I will do it, but this time I will not talk about the link, because I'm afraid we'll take it out and stuff like this. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this one. And this all is theories. We don't know nothing. Just we're waiting for information. But you can also please comment what you think about this one, and you put your theory as well. Comment, or yeah, participate in this, because we have a lot of the questions still unanswered. Blessings.